Hi, second graders. Welcome to reading. It is Friday, which means we are writing a letter to our teacher. But things are changing just a little bit this week, so really pay attention to see what am I supposed to put in my letter, okay? And I'm going to start with reading a book because if you remember, the very first step is to read for 20 minutes. So you are going to be reading by yourself for 20 minutes. After you read, you're going to use the book that you read to write a letter. Try to pick a different book than you did the past weeks. So you shouldn't be writing about the same book every single week. That's boring and it doesn't really help you grow your brain. So really try to pick new books each week that you want to tell us about. You can use books on Epic. You can use books at home. I know my class, I gave you like a textbook with books inside of it. So you can use those all to help you with your reading. All right, so I'm going to read the book Dreamers by Yuyi Morales. So I'll start by reading this book. And this is the one that I'm going to use for my letter. Dreamers. I dreamed of you, then you appeared. Together we became amor, love, amor. Resplendent life, you and I. One day, we bundled gifts in our backpacks and crossed a bridge outstretched like the universe. And when we made it to the other side, thirsty, in awe, unable to go back, we became immigrants. So you can see they're leaving their country. They're leaving their country to go to a new place. When you leave your country and go to a new place, you're called an immigrant, someone who moves from one place to another, an immigrant. Migrants, you and I. The sky and the land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. So you can see in English it says give thanks. Um, you can see here it says speak English. I don't know what that says. What? Say something. Even like the title here, it says bookstore. But you can tell that's not their normal or their language that they speak in their country or their country that they left. There were so many things we didn't know, unable to understand and afraid to speak. She says, I just try to understand what's happening here. We made lots of mistakes. You can see her in a fountain with her baby, and the cop's like, you're not supposed to be here. She was confused, I think. I'm going to stop right here just real quick to tell you. The whole point this week is we've been looking at characters, right? And looking at our characters and how they feel. And so in your letter, you're going to be thinking, how does my character feel? So as I'm reading this, I'm really looking for what are some feelings that my character is having right now? And you're going to do that when you read too. So you're going to read your book, and as you read it, really be thinking, what does my character feel right now? And really be tracking their feelings, okay? But I'm looking for that too. You and I became caminantes, people who walk around. Thousands and thousands of steps we took around this land until the day we found, I wonder what it is, a place we had never seen before. Suspicious, improbable. Can anyone guess where they are? If you guessed library, you are right. Unbelievable, surprising. I'm assuming they didn't have libraries in the country that she's from. Unimaginable. Where we didn't need to speak, we only needed to trust. And we did. Books became our language. Books became our home. Books became our lives. We learned to read. You can see the baby has a ton of books in a stroller. We learned to speak, to write, and to make our voices heard. You can see them making things. Someday we will become something we haven't even yet imagined. But right now, we are stories. We are two languages. We are lucha, which means to fight. We are resilience. We are hope. We are dreamers. Soñadores of the world. So dreamers of the world. We are love, amor, love. So it looks like she speaks Spanish. And she's saying, we're dreamers. Us immigrants, people who move from one country to another, we're dreamers. And we are love. And then it tells her whole story, but I'm actually not going to read her whole story right now just to save us some time. But what you guys are going to be doing is, just like I did, you're going to be reading, just like I did. Then you're going to go on to Seesaw, onto our assignment, and you're going to see this pops up. So to start off, you need to write dear. It already has dear, so then you write your teacher's name. So if you're writing to Miss Smith, you're going to write dear and then put Miss Smith. If you're writing to me, Mrs. Davis is your teacher, you're going to write Davis. So dear, oops, sorry, not just Davis, Mrs. Davis. So you'll write that in the blank, okay? So dear, your teacher's name, Mrs. Davis. I read the book. Then you have to fill in the blank as well. What book did I read? I read the book Dreamers. So you're going to write the book you read. Dreamers. Okay? I read the book Dreamers. My character felt. Now this is where you have to write one thing that your character felt. So I'm going to go back in my book and rethink what was something my character felt. And I can pick out a few of them because I was thinking as I was reading, what are some things she might be feeling? So just to give some ideas, on this page, when it talks about how unable to go back and how they became immigrants, I'm thinking maybe she felt nervous or scared. I was thinking this one where she said, there are so many things we didn't know, unable to understand and afraid to speak. And if you can see her face, it looks like, oh my goodness, overwhelmed and confused. And so I wanted to use one of those. So I think I'm gonna go with this page, and I'm gonna say my character felt overwhelmed and confused. So there was so much going on, right, that she didn't understand. So overwhelmed and confused. That's something that I know my character felt. Okay. And then you have to fill out the last part. So after you say, what did your character feel? You need to write, how did you know? Well, I'm not just going to say she felt confused and overwhelmed. How did I know she was confused and overwhelmed? Well, if I look back at my book, I can see it in the picture on her face. And because she says she's unable to understand. There were so many things she didn't know. So you have to prove it. Don't just say how your character felt. You need to find what words, what picture showed you that that was true. And you need to tell me what it is. So for mine, it was, I know this because in the picture, she looks, in the picture, her face shows like her eyebrows, her face in the picture, her face shows she is confused. Also, the words say She didn't know many things and she was unable to understand. Okay, this is taken from the book. So I talked about how in the picture she looks confused. And then also in the words, here it says that she didn't know many things and that she didn't understand, right? So then as it reads, this is what I have so far. I have, Dear Mrs. Davis, because remember I filled in the blank here for Mrs. Davis. I read the book and then I put dreamers. My character felt, what did my character feel? She felt overwhelmed and confused. Then I told, how did I know that? What in the book, what clues did the book tell me that she was confused? Well, so I put, I know this because in the picture, her face shows she's confused. Also, the words say she didn't know many things and she was unable to understand. I proved how I knew that she was confused, overwhelmed and confused. I didn't just make that up. I found clues in the book that told me that. So that's what you're going to do is find those clues and tell me what they are. How did you figure out that your character was sad? How did you figure out that your character was scared? How did you figure out your character was happy? Whatever feeling they're feeling, prove it. Find a place in the book and look for, did they stomp their feet? So that showed that they were mad. Did they start crying? Did that show that they were sad? What did they do or say or look like to make it seem like they were feeling that feeling? Okay, that's what you're going to put in that part. And then last but not least, you need to say who it's from. So I already have the word from, comma, and you need to put your name. So I'll put my name from Daniela. Okay, so now my whole story is done and I can go ahead and turn it in. You need all the parts to be done. All right, guys, you can do this. I believe in you. Read for 20 minutes. While you're reading, check to see what is my character feeling? How do I know? And then write your letter, okay? All right, guys, can't wait to see the letters you write and to see what books you're reading and what your characters are feeling and how you knew that.